ba-da-ba, drum roll, please. You win Citizen of the Year for 2020.
Yes,
so you go from hanging by a thread in the Aurelia Soldiers Memorial Hospital. They kept you alive. No wonder they kept you alive. They're like, we need to give this guy his trophy. So congratulations, Citizen of the Year 2020, City of Aurelia. And I know you, maybe you can share some of that work with us. I know you've always sort of throughout your life, but I think even you're one of those people, even after retirement, you're almost more busy or more involved with the community than you ever were. Like your itinerary. I was just going to say pre-COVID, your itinerary was like every night of the week. You have multiple meetings because you're a member of this club and this committee and that committee and this committee. So tell us about some of the initiatives that you're involved in here in Aurelia and sort of what led to that nomination.
Well, it seems that whenever somebody is looking for somebody to be the president or to be the person that has to, go out in front of the media or whatever, that I volunteer to do things like that. So I have been president of the local Kiwanis Club about 3 years ago, I guess now. I'm now past president, and one of the very great, what's the word I'm looking for, activities that I've really enjoyed is there's been a choir called the Aurelia Vocal Ensemble. A friend of mine, Roy Mena, started back in about 10, 12 years ago now. And it's a pay it forward, we call it, choir. We don't charge anything for our concerts, and we have 3 of those a year. And they're good concerts. We've had about 50, 60 people in the choir, and the concerts are usually full, packed house. But instead of charging people to come to hear the choir, we ask them at the intermission to donate to the featured charity of that concert. And over the 10 years the choir's been in existence, and I've only been with it for about 5 or 6 years now, it's raised about $150,000 for local charities. And it's just a marvelous initiative that Roy and others, members of the choir, started about 12 years ago now. Unfortunately, with COVID, we've had to put that aside. We're hoping maybe we can get started again either this fall or in January, but that remains to be seen as well. What else have I been? About 7 years ago, there was a group of us in town that formed a group called the Huronia Cultural Campus. We were hoping to get access to a piece of provincial property just outside of Aurelia, the Huronia Regional Center, which has been shut down, was shut down in 2009. And we were hoping to get access to that property and turn it into kind of a Banff Center East. We've since changed the name of our group to the Aurelia Center for Arts and Culture. But that's a group also that I've chaired for almost 6 years now, I guess. So, but it's been exciting. We've done brought a lot of entertainers into the area. We've done a lot of educational things. The First Nations group that I was mentioning earlier was part of that. We did that 2017, 18, and 19, 3 First Nations Writers Festivals. And the last couple of years, there were about 4 of us sitting down having coffee one day at Mariposa Market, and we were talking about the environment and what steps needed to be taken. And we really felt, all of us, that the climate change was a threat that we needed to try to deal with. And so we created something called Sustainable Aurelia. And it became a mayor's task force at first. And with the support of Mayor Steve Clark of Aurelia and the council. And they have sponsored us for some funding each year for the past 3 years. And our goal is to create a community here in Aurelia that's much more conscious of the environment, conscious of how to avoid waste, conscious of how to do away with some of the plastics and this sort of thing that we're all seeing around so much and which are doing so much damage to our planet. And that's turned out very well. We were incorporated last year, and COVID has put a little crimp in our activities, of course, but we're finding that Zoom meetings and webinars still manage to get the message out. And along with a couple of other people, Suzanne LaPearl and Gord Ball, I'm a member of the communications team. So we're writing articles, a tip of the week that goes into a couple of local online media about things that people can do to live more sustainably. And we also write articles featuring some of the companies in town that are moving toward much more sustainable activities. And for example, I'm just going to send an article in tomorrow. There's a local insurance company, McLean and Dickey, that has just renovated a piece of property in Aurelia, and they put in LED lights. They've double pane windows. They've insulated the whole place. They put in special hot water heating, so it's right at source. You don't have hot water cooling off throughout the whole building. A number of methods to make it sustainable business. And it was the incentive of the owners of the company to do that. Nobody said they had to, but they just felt, well, there's an interesting sentence in the article where they say, as an insurance broker, they are seeing the impact of climate change on insurance costs all across the country.
Right.
And you only have to think about the fires in Alberta and the fires in California and floods and storms and this sort of thing to see how insurance is a huge reactor to the some of the changes that we're seeing in the climate. So I guess that's about it. 4 or 5 different organizations, and it's been a pleasure to work with all of those people. You know, that's the fun part of it, is that the people you're working with are really committed people as well. And they become friends, and you spend a lot of time together, and that's what makes life worth living, you know, with family and friends, and trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, and creating that team atmosphere, right? Yeah.